Hello and welcome to Get Into Games on Air, a podcast about board games and the people who play them. As always, I am Craig, and joining me on this lovely day is Rebecca. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, and welcome to episode 51. I'm tired, or aka a UKGE recap thing.
Roundup.
A roundup recap thing.
72,000 people playing board games.
72,000 people. All...
We can talk about every single one of them.
Yep, there was Norbert. They loved playing Clank Legacy.
I didn't see anyone playing Clank Legacy.
Well, you didn't look hard enough.
Fair enough.
There was Jerome.
Yeah.
They enjoyed playing Flippers. There was Michelle. She enjoyed playing Brass Birmingham.
This is going to take a little while if we go through all of the 72,000 people.
There was Claire. She enjoyed...
We should draw a line under naming every single person who was at
I will draw a line under every single person who was at UKGE.
Yeah.
It was good. It was a wonderful time. It was very different.
It was really different this year. I felt like there was an air of difference.
Yeah. I don't know whether it was... I kind of think I heard mixed things about the new layout. I heard a lot of people loved it, and a lot of people were like, or didn't really enjoy it. I don't know.
I'm on the fence about it. I think there were times where I was trying to find people and you would kind of merge from 3A to 3, and before you know it, you'd be in 4, and you're actually looking for 2.
Yeah.
Like, you could get waylaid. However, I felt like it was more of a cohesive... it felt like one big room.
It felt massive. Yeah, it felt huge. I think, traditionally, it was... You do hall 1, you go upstairs, you do hall 2, you go across, you do hall 3.
Yeah.
And then you go to 3A, which is open gaming. But now it's 2, 3, 3A, 4, which are all technically joint because you just open the big doors and you sort of are in 2 and then you go, right, I need to go to 3 and you end up in 4 and you're like, how did that happen? I was literally in 3 a second ago. So yeah, it was... Yeah, it was interesting.
I actually... So, last year I felt like there were lots of Asmodee zones, and they were really, it was really noticeable, because it was like, this is the Asmodee preview area, this is the Asmodee, I don't know, whatever it was. And it felt like last year Asmodee kind of took over, whereas this year... Asmodee were there and had loads of stands and bits and pieces, but it was more as part of the whole, as opposed to in your face, which I felt was much nicer. And there were some,
I think there were some cool things that they did with the space, like Asmodee having the bus, the kids area, the double bit with the grass and the camper van, the VW camper. There were some cool features and things that felt more. Almost with the big bus and stuff like that, it felt like it was moving towards the things you see at a Gen Con, like big, elaborate staging and setups and stuff like that.
And a massive Battle of Hoth.
And a giant Battle of Hoth, which we will get into. But yeah, I did feel like the space was interesting. I felt, what I did appreciate is that I never felt like anywhere bottlenecked. I felt like there was more, it was wider.
They definitely had widened the avenues.
Yeah.
Is that what they called it? Avenues? Because I remember last year on the Saturday, you'd kind of be jostling for space. You wouldn't be able to see the stalls. You'd have to squeeze past. There was very little of that this year. Yeah. And I think even on the Saturday when it was clearly their busiest day, it still felt like you could walk down the avenue without necessarily getting squished by everybody, so that was quite nice.
Yeah, I didn't think you were ever jockeying for position, and no point did I turn a corner and go, okay, I'm going to turn around and go the other way because there's no way I can get. It's going to take me longer to get through these people than.
And other than the Flippers stall, and presumably some others, but Flippers was the one that I was trying to get a playthrough of. Other than that, you could get to all the stalls and have a look at what you wanted to look at. For some reason, Flippers, which I can understand because it's super cute, there was always people there demoing that.
They were always playing
very busy and a little bit of a queue for that, which is good for Molinari's games, but not good for me because I didn't get my playthrough of Flippers.
Well, that's all right. That's why we own it, so that's okay.
Yeah, but I wanted to play with Mike.
That's true. Well, we'll just find Mike and put him in a box and kidnap him, and he can play. It'll be fine. That's what we do.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So start the beginning.
Yep. There was a day.
You started even earlier than the rest of us.
I did start earlier than everyone else. I was there at the setup. I got to see the setup of UKGE. That was
behind the scenes.
I got to see behind the scenes, which is always fun.
What was it like behind the scenes?
I was a big empty hall and wood on.
Is it weird? Because I imagine it's weird seeing it when there's no people in there and it's just people sitting up.
Yeah, it is. It's very odd. It's empty because when it's empty and you can see where you are in the space, and then because obviously also you come in the back, you come in in the big doors, big shutters anyway. You come from the car park outside, the loading bit.
Yeah.
But also you can't you gauge it. It looks totally different. It's like how does this space? Where did I? Yeah, you can't gauge the space that you're in.
And almost the people kind of make it as well. So it's just empty stands that don't look very much. But when you get people bustling around them, it suddenly becomes like a
hive.
Hive, yeah. So that was cool. And then we went to press night, which I had never done before. No, so that was very exciting. And I was very excited. I was sort of buzzing. And it was really interesting because that's the opportunity to kind of, it's almost like, and I think you described this before, kind of speed dating publishers.
Yeah, almost. Yeah.
And just going around, seeing what's on offer, and then you can sort of make a plan of where you want to perhaps go and end up on Friday and Saturday and Sunday. You can kind of gauge what you're interested in.
Yeah.
So that was quite nice, and it's a chance for the publishers to meet you as somebody doing press. So then when you go and meet them again at the expo, they recognise you, which is quite nice.
Yeah, absolutely.
And when you ask them to do bits to camera, etc., they've already met you. So.
Yeah, it was interesting that some of the big titles that I suppose that I would say were the big things for Expo were not at the press event.
Like what?
Like there was no Asmodee, there was no Hoth, there was no Ink, there was no.
Did you feel like they don't need to do that?
I don't think they don't need to, but people go there to have that kind of the press, quote unquote press, want to have that one-to-one experience with the publishers and go, what's new? Let me see the new stuff before Joe Public.
Was Hush It at the press event?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was interesting in its own right, the way the press tables were set out and laid out.
What's it been like in the past? Because I've got no.
Well, it was again, it was wider. It was in the area where we had where the open gaming was. But it was quite open. It was quite nice, but it was also before it was more open. It felt like you could actually get around. There was definitely more publishers, but there were more of the smaller publishers, which is great for those smaller publishers.
Yeah. But that's what they need, isn't it? They need a little bit of kind of a leg up to say, this is what we're doing. Come check out our store.
And I think pretty much everyone we saw at press that we really liked and really enjoyed, like the people, the company, we saw them on the main show as well. We went into the big. So I think highlights from the press event, probably Questiny. chatting to them about.
Because I had worked a little bit, well, like sort of read the rule book and kind of pointed out some bits that might need changing, etc. So that was quite interesting to actually meet the guy then. And then kind of things that stood out, like Bitter Rivals, which is a card game about lemons and limes.
Yeah.
And the couple behind that are just super nice.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I want to check out their store. And they had a really cool kind of setup with some tech and videos and things, which was really, really good. What else?
Power Vacuum looked good.
Oh, yeah.
That was cool. I think a lot of people have got that game. They bought that game on there. When I've seen the hauls on Instagram and all the photos, people do seem to have jumped into grabbing that one.
The game chest, that was quite cool.
That was quite good.
It's like they're almost like button shy games, but it's all contained within a chest, and there's 3 different games that you can play, all different themed. But
that looked nice.
That was really nice.
There was I was really taken aback by the. There was a really cool. It was called Brickskrieg, and it was like a miniatures game, but built of Lego. I thought that was quite cool. There was evidently like things like Pavison and Tactics games with Deep Regrets and Tranda games with like showing off Galaxy. What's it called? Galactic Cruise. That's the one. That everyone's very excited about. There was just lots of cool little bits, but Hachette were there obviously with showing off a bit of Gwent and showing off a bit of everything that they have on their stall, hanging gardens and that sort of stuff too.
Yeah, and there was a lady we met who was doing role-playing games game books for children who are 4 and above, and it's kind of like we were looking, I think we mentioned on a previous podcast, for something that was kind of an entry level into like Dungeons and Dragons for our children, and these books are quite cool. So we eventually ended up buying at the Expo what was it called? Unicorn Heist. And essentially read the story, and then you have to make decisions about what your character does. You roll the dice to see whether you're successful or not, but it's just a kind of entry level into D&D kind of thing. So that was quite cool.
The Tomb Raider was there as well, which was great little. The Tomb Raider, the Crypt of Kronos looks good, looks fun, solo game. I'm starting to think we're starting to creep into this solo gaming malarkey recently with Time Troopers and War of the Worlds, which we'll mention a bit later, I'm sure, and certain final girls, as it were.
Yes, certain final girls.
I had a chat with Ravensburger. Saw Ravensburger had the Horrified D&D. That might be a purchase. I don't mind Horrified. I know you're not. You're kind of lukewarm on Horrified. It's fine, but the D&D one seems to throw in some extra new stuff.
What was that? You nearly inhaled.
That was Horrified. A yawn. That was a yawn. Like I said, episode 51. Tired. I'm tired. I'm going to slurp a sip of tea in true Trywin Games way.
Lady who was doing tea, I think was like Lucky. Wow, everybody just went, turn that off.
Sorry, that was the
sounds
John.
like a Trywin.
Yeah.
Slur. Anyway, a lovely lady who runs Lucky Leaf Teas. So was really interested in, because I spoke to her before the expo about her teas, so we checked that out. And then later went back at the expo to actually buy some tea.
Nice. CGE has spoken to Lena about the new SETI expansion and the Lost Ruins of Arnak expansion. They also had some of the new artwork for Codenames, which seems to be a big thing, even though it's the same game. So maybe that's not that much of a big thing.
Yeah, so it was good. and it just gives you a flavour of what the expo is about. And we took our friend James for the first time to the expo.
Nerdy nemesis.
I was a little bit worried because I was like, well, we've got, meetings and things to do. And he found a friend or some friends. He found a friend. And he started playing Dune with them.
He made a friend. Yeah. With what was his name?
Troy.
Hi, Troy.
And so, that I think is the kind of best thing about our hobby, that, you can take somebody who's never been to the expo before and they found somebody to play a game with and had a whale of a time. And I love that about our hobby, that everybody's just so accommodating and people will play games with.
Yeah.
Whoever,
I think that's one of the things I've definitely took from this year's expo is that I think a lot of the people that we normally, or we used to, we always hang out with, and our good friends and stuff like that, people are experiencing the expo differently now. And a lot of people that we know go on the Friday, go to the press night, go on the Friday to stomp the halls. And then on Saturday, they set up camp in the Hilton, and they don't come back to the stand.
Well, they do come back.
Well, they do. No, but they don't go to the halls massively. And I think what I was saying is that we met a lot of different faces.
Yeah.
Which was really nice. Like, a lot of different faces off of Instagram and not off Instagram and all that sort of stuff. But we saw a lot of new people. I did also think that at this expo, I think it seemed more difficult to bump into people. Like the last couple of years, I bump into people every 5 seconds.
That's because you were busy on Saturday. Because on Saturday, I was bumping into people left, right, and centre.
Well,
people were bumping into me, not like literally bumping into me, but like, I was walking along and suddenly Party Snail Games was like, "Hi, how are you?"
Yeah,
which was lovely, and people, always plays blue, shouted my name, and so. I felt like maybe Saturday I bumped into a lot of people, because that seemed to be what happened. As you were going somewhere or heading for something, you would be making your way to said stall.
Yeah.
And before you know it, somebody's called you, you've met up with somebody, you've had a chat, then you've forgotten where you were going, then you end off going in a different direction. I think that's why I kept ending up in the wrong halls.
Yeah.
But I like that. I like... the buzz of the expo and bumping into people, and meeting some people that you would never usually meet, like our board games.
Yeah.
And had they gave us a piece of Scottish tablet, which was delicious. Yum. So it's a really nice opportunity and to meet up with Dungeons and Dimples, to meet up with people that we wouldn't necessarily be meeting up with on a normal
exactly. And I think
week,
a lot of people that we bumped into, Holly Properly and Plague Mantle Steve, and we bumped into Good Game Fair Play and Tabletop Nonsense and all of that crew. I mean, there's a lot of people, different people and different accounts, Dungeons and Dimples, that sort of thing, which is really nice. It's always nice to meet lots of different friendly faces.
Yeah. So Friday was quite busy.
Friday was busy. Friday was a lot of meetings. I felt, it was good. We got around the place a lot. We got to a lot of meetings, had a lot of nice chats. We went to Outset Media, which was Cheatwell Games. They were doing a new essential edition of Feed the Kraken, which is quite nice. It's a £35 version of
£70
of an £80 game. Yeah. So it was really nice.
And I think it's quite an expensive game, and you have to have a lot of people. And for me, £80 is just a bit of a stretch for a game that you might not play very often. Yeah. Whereas to have it on your shelf for £35, I think Yeah, I might pick that up on the off chance that I might be able to play it a couple of times.
Yeah,
at like a mini meetup or.
It's absolutely a minimum of 5 players, I think, that game.
Yeah, but the more players, the better.
Yeah, absolutely. You really need that kind of thing.
But then we would have to prioritise whether we played Clock Tower or that or Captain Sonar. So it's all very difficult if you get a group of people together. What game?
Dead of Winter. They're like a Nemesis. Like, yeah, you've got so many games to play. Like at that player count now, it's tough to choose.
We had a meeting with Asmodee.
We also had for Cheatwell, we played a game called Rainbow. Oh, yeah.
We'll go to Asmodee later.
Yeah, unless you just want to say we went to these places and then we just go, thanks for listening, goodbye.
No, I forgot you were talking about Cheatwell.
We played a game called Rainbow. That was good, wasn't it?
It was good. It's trick-taking game where you have to try and get all the colours of the rainbow. But the interesting thing about it is that the card deck is in the middle between the two players, so it's a 2-player game. And on one side you can see the colour, but on the so you hold them in your hand, but on the back side of the cards is a completely different colour, and you have to decide whether you're going to put it down the way you see it, or you risk it to put it down the way your partner sees it. But if you put down 2 of the same colour,
yeah, you're out. But there's a really nice push your luck. Like, you can play a card, and if you want to play another card, you have to flip a card that's already on the table. And not knowing what colour the card is underneath means if you flip it, you potentially are going to have a match of colours. But you're trying to shed your hand and trying to put 6 cards out to get the points. It's a really unique little thing that the game offers. I just think it's really good.
We also played Lambada, which since we bought it home, we've played it quite a few times. You have grey cards that spell out Lambada. You put 2 coloured cards randomly drawn on, so they match the letters. So you might have a green L and an orange A. And then you are able to play out of your hand any of those coloured cards onto the Lambada. If you can't play one of those coloured cards, you have to pick up a card. But there's also a forbidden card. So say the forbidden card was purple. If you can only play purple, then you would have to pick up 3 cards. If you are managed to play something that's legal and doesn't require you to pick up any cards, you pass a card. So it's like card shedding. You pass a card to the player to your left, and it's the first person to get rid of their cards wins the round. I think it's the first to 3, but it's really pretty on the table. It looks beautiful because it's really colourful. Really easy to play, but there is a bit of strategy in like, what card do I hand in? When do I actually pick up a card? Because then I can play other cards in my hand. So for quite a simple game, there's quite a bit of strategy.
Yeah. So Cheatwell have got quite a lot of nice games at the moment. So it's definitely something that worth looking into their games. And Kedrick Wicks hopefully will be a person to come on this podcast. What do they call them? Guests.
Yes.
A guest onto this podcast, which I'm very excited for because he is hilarious, and I think it will be a really, really good chat.
Oh, we missed out the first thing that happened to you.
The first thing was the best thing.
So, when you come in, I think it was when you come into Hall 2. The first thing you are met with...
it's not the first. If you turn right, it's up the road.
That's where I was getting to. If you turn right and try and like kind of avoid the traffic, you end up at the mead store, which was fine. And, at 9 o'clock in the morning, nothing better than trying out the mead, which was fine. We tried out 3. And then I decided to ask the guy to do a piece to camera. Why I decided, I don't know. But then this
became the thing.
It became the thing that I did all weekend, which was really enjoyable. And I actually loved doing it. But the guy said to Craig, okay, well, we'll do a piece of camera, but then you're going to have to try all of the meats.
Yeah.
So there's Craig getting sozzled at 9 o'clock in the morning, trying all the
barely
meats.
sozzled, but yeah.
But yeah, so it was quite funny. But they were really nice mead. And I don't think
Nidhogger mead. We've had a mead before. It was horrible. But these are
these are award-winning.
The world's best, actually, and the world's second best on one of them. But that's only because their other one is the world's best. So
check out my Instagram.
Yeah, Nidhogger, Mead, hopefully another thing in the future down the line worth talking about.
So, Asmodee.
Yep.
We went on a little preview walk across all their areas in the Expo. We saw Mandalorian Adventure, which looks really cool. It's like a dungeon crawler.
It's like a Star Wars Gloomhaven-y thing.
Yeah.
The second part's out, So the original the first one came out last year, and now we've got the next expansion part to it, which is nice.
We saw Battle of Hoth.
Star Wars Battle of Hoth.
And they obviously had the normal sized game, but they had a big version of
the giant Battle of Hoth was incredible.
So cool. It was like the big version of Harmonies, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't 3D printed. It was they were solid pieces. It was incredible.
It was so nice.
The game itself, fantastic as well.
Yeah, we went for a little preview game session with Asmodee, and now I've never played Memoir 44 before. No. And so we sat down to play this game, and the head honcho at Asmodee was showing us how to play, and I was petrified because I was like, I don't do wargaming, and I have no idea what to do. And he said, so you know Memoir 44? And I was like, I don't know Memoir 44. I'm going to make a mess of this. Anyway, turns out I think I might like Memoir 44, or at least this version of it, because you play cards. The cards tell you which area on the board you can move your pieces.
And what types they do,
and then
troops.
You roll a dice to see whether they do any damage to the opposing team. And it all plays out in about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And at the end of it, I kind of wanted to play again, which I think is the sign of a good game. Yes. But also, I lost. So I think a game where you lose and then you immediately want to play again is the sign of a good game.
And it's cool because it's like kind of mini campaign driven almost. There's there's different scenarios that you can play. It's going to be an expensive game because it is going to lead to the Battle of Endor, and it is going to lead to every single type of Star Wars battle. And it's not like Days of Wonder to make the same game multiple times, is it? They don't do that. That's not the type of thing that they would do.
Mm-hmm. But I think as a 2-player kind of war battle thing, it is quite good. I know we played Blood Bowl. I know it's not quite the same as Wargaming, but Star Wars Rebellion, with the miniatures and things. But I think this is one that you could get out the box really easily, set up really quickly, and play a couple of games back to back.
Yeah.
And it's not like me to really love a Star Wars game, but I did actually really enjoy it. So that was, I suppose, the surprise of the Expo, because I was expecting to go, oh, God.
Yeah, I didn't have any, again, same thing with Memoir 44. I was like, okay, it's a game.
Yeah.
But I think actually, and obviously having loving Star Wars, I was a bit on the fence going, I probably can take it or leave it, but now I'm definitely on I think I'll take it. It's really good.
They had the most beautiful stand set up for Pergola, which just looked amazing. And I saw it on the table, and I've never really done this, but I was like, we need to buy that.
Yeah.
And Craig was like, what, now? And I was like, yeah, we need to buy it now. Turns out that was a good shout because they sold out on Friday.
Yeah.
So it was a good job we bought it. But it's the artist is the person who did Meadow.
Yeah.
It looks
everything's by the same as Meadow.
It looks absolutely beautiful. You are kind of curating a garden.
Yeah.
But your actions are on the tools that you use to, do your gardening. And there are tiny, I don't know if they're rewood, but tiny ladybirds, butterflies. Your main character piece or your player colour is a frog,
Yeah.
The whole thing is absolutely beautiful, and the action tools are set up in what looks like a
little plant pot.
Yeah. So it looks really cool. So I'm really looking forward to playing that. I think it'll be really good. It gives me Chai feels because it feels the way I felt about seeing Chai. I was like, I need that game. It's beautiful.
Yeah. There was the Lord of the Rings Pandemic.
Yes.
With Matt Laycock was there, wasn't he, playing it with people?
It looks really cool.
It does look good. I mean, I'll be the one person to say I don't need a £70 version of Pandemic, but once the hype has died down, probably in about 2 weeks because something else will come out.
I would say like £50. I would.
Yeah, it's a 50 quid game.
It's got a really cool dice tower. Obviously, it's
which will never go back in the box, so that lives somewhere in your house.
But the map is beautiful. Middle Earth.
It's beautiful. It's a stunning game. All the pieces are brilliant.
Miniatures.
It's beautiful, and it is good. It is Pandemic.
But if I was going to have another Pandemic, I would have this version.
Yeah, I think it will enter the collection at some point.
Yeah.
I don't think I could spend justify 70 quid for it.
But you can buy the Legacy. See, then you have to wait up. Like, do I buy because I really want another Pandemic Legacy.
Yeah.
And that's about 70 quid. So, like, do you just get the new Pandemic or do you go and get a Legacy version where you've got, I don't know.
Yeah. I think
I think I'd have to play it.
It's the big hyped game. It was one of the big hyped games of the convention. It is the game that, like, all the hyped games of UKGE 2024, in 2026, it'll be a big stack of them in the corner, and there'll be a new hyped thing.
Don't be a pessimist.
I'm not being a pessimist, but genuinely, the games of 2024 were just stacked in a big pile, and no one was looking at them, and they were all going, "Oh, something new and shiny."
Well, that's how the world works, but
that is how the world works.
You can choose to not be part of that. You can choose to play your old games.
I don't want to do that.
And love your old games. You don't need to conform to the cult of the new, do you?
They're not in the top 100.
We also got a chance to play Ink, which is really cool. It's got little paint pots. It's cool, and there's a lot of hype about it.
There's going to be, it's going to be a lot of hype.
It looks really beautiful on the table with the little paint pots, and the light comes through the paint pots, and it's glorious. I don't know. I think you would like it more than me because I'm not very good at abstract games, and you have to kind of puzzle out where you're going to put your tiles in order to create like a connection of the same color. And I don't think I'm very good at spatially working that out, so I don't think it's the game for me, but I can see why people love it, and I do think that, it's going to look great on the table.
It's going to sell really well because there was a limited release of like 40 units at UKGE before it's officially released in September or whenever it's out, and there's going to be those few people posting about it, and everyone's now going to get the FOMO, and that game's going to sell incredibly well based on the fact that some people have seen it.
It might be fun.
It may well be fun.
But the one that I was really interested in that is coming, I think, in August or September.
It was October the 2nd.
Was it?
Yep.
Okay, October the 2nd, apparently. Is a game called Take Time, which is like absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
Essentially, you've got different clocks in envelopes, and it is a mixture of the mind and what else did he say? It's a bit like the mind. So you have a clock, and you have to all of the cards in your hand, which have beautiful backs, have numbers on them. And you have to go around the clock, and the numbers have to get increasingly bigger. But there are also some stipulations. So, for example, in the first one, you have to play 3 cards in a certain area, or you have to play a white card in a certain area, or you have to play a number between 8 and 12 on a certain area. But you're not allowed to talk. And so, it's a challenge. I think in a 3-player game, you have 4 cards each.
Yeah.
And you're laying out your cards around this clock.
It was beautiful.
To try to win the condition, basically.
Yeah.
But there's loads of the clocks, different types of clocks.
It was stunning.
It's in Paris size box.
Yes, reasonably. Architects of Amethyst.
Yeah,
reasonably small box.
But the artwork is like chef's kiss.
Yeah, it's
amazing.
Yeah,
and we're definitely going to get that.
Yeah, it is.
And I played another one called Cardia, which was like a trick-taking game as well, which is nice, which is coming out in August. Like, you could take that. That's only a small box. You could take it to the pub.
Yeah.
It was quite good. So, yeah, that was...
I think that's pretty much for Asmodee. Yeah. Asmodee. They have obviously had their, like, their main hero line and that kind of thing, which was
and lots good. Of Star Wars Unlimited and bits like that.
And a bus. The bus was fun.
And double. And the best thing is that the double hands.
Yeah. Oh, the Star Wars Unlimited. They were running a lot of Twin Suns decks and things like that. There's a lot of cool Star Wars Unlimited stuff. It was definitely not as big a queue as there has been previous years for Star Wars Unlimited, I'd say.
But neither was there for Lorcana.
No, there was nothing for Lorcana either. They've definitely...
They died down a bit.
Yeah.
But which is nice, because nobody wants to spend hours in a queue for things. The only thing that there was a queue for, that I saw pictures of a legitimate queue, was for Feather Something.
Yeah, Feather Something definitely had the biggest queue.
So there were 25, I think, each day.
Yep.
And people were rushing to go get them.
Yeah, they were running in.
So yeah, that actually had a legitimate queue. So I think that was quite cool. And
that's great for an independent indie designer as well, to be the one that everyone's rushing to.
I would say this year it was a lot more about the indie publisher. There were a lot more indie publishers, and they were doing really, really well.
But there wasn't really. Because I don't think there was any of the big. There wasn't any huge releases. Like Gwent everyone wants to play Gwent at Hachette, but no one can buy it, so everyone's just playing it.
Yeah.
Hanging Gardens was a good shout. There were some really nice things.
Ooh,
but
Hachette had that really cool game.
They did, yeah. So that again, another game that's coming out in September.
But there is a game coming out that we are definitely getting, and it comes in a box with a drawer.
Yeah.
And it's not a massive box, but it does come with a drawer. A bit like Canvas, kind of.
Mm.
There's a box for Canvas, isn't there?
Yeah.
It's called Leaders, and it's an abstract strategy game. But what's really cool is that you both play black.
Yeah.
And you can see the other person's
yeah.
white side. But and you play you draw cards, and then those characters that you draw become part of your I don't know, clan or whatever it is, and then you use them to win the game.
It was really fun.
You have to get 2 of your people next to the opponent's king, a bit like chess, but again, it was
all the characters are different, and you basically you're hiring them as you're playing the game. You start with just like your king, and then you get 1, and then you get up to, so you got 5 in the end.
Yeah,
including your king.
They had some cool things on their stand. So they had like the micro macro wheel, where you could win some offers, and the big micro macro stand, so you could search for things. They had a huge Spy Guy fantasy game. Yeah. So I think the year before, when we took the kids, we really missed the big King of Tokyo, because that was the thing that the kids were like, I want to go play the big thing, King of Tokyo. And I know there are some like big games, like what's those people? Hereford.
Yeah.
Usually have the big games, but I think last year we were missing those big games. But everywhere had big games. So the big Spy Guy, Singer Games had the big water game.
There was Giant Double. There was a Giant Carcassonne. There was a Giant Catan.
Yeah, so
there was
that's really, and the Giant Battle of Hoth. So they had more like giant game, which I think is a focal point for people. Even if you don't get to play the giant game, it's like, whoa, look at the giant.
I feel like Imagination Gaming had less of their giant games. They didn't have like the big. They had big Koale, but they didn't have big Pylos and big all of the other ones. They only had a couple. They didn't have like last year, the year before. They had like there was a whole section of just tables with these giant games on.
But I think so. I was really pleased to see more giant games and things for the kids to do, especially on the Sunday. But yeah, what else did we do on Friday?
Chat to a lot of people.
We did chat to a lot of people. Did we? Oh dear, Craig is just madly checking his phone. What did he do?
What did I do on Friday? On Friday, there was the badges went down well.
The badges, yeah. So
on Friday we played War of the Worlds.
Oh, yeah. So I wanted to play this for, like, absolutely ages. Every time I've seen it at Aircon, the guy is always, like, really, really busy. Because it's just him by himself doing demos. And the demos, like, do last quite a while because you have to do a bit of reading. And then in order to get a flavour of it, you have to play it for quite a while. So, you can't get that many people through. But so I messaged him and said we must get a demo in, and I was really pleased we went. I've just recently read War of the Worlds, and it's very immersive, and he has managed to capture that kind of setting really, really well. Yeah. And the idea that these Martians are chasing you and, you only have one more day to survive. And I think that had we played to the end, we would not have survived.
No, absolutely not. But it was good. It's a really nice little version, a game. And again, solo or cooperative card, deck builder.
There's a theme.
Yeah, it's really nice. And I think production-wise, it'd be really nice. I think there's going to be a base Kickstarter and then a shiny, swanky Kickstarter with playmat and all the good things.
Oh, Craig, stop.
I can't help it. These people, they're so boring.
So
they haven't said a word back to me. I've been talking to them for ages and they don't reply to me in any which way or another.
We saw Board Game Waffle.
We did see Steve.
Oh, we went to IB Studios.
We went to Ibiza.
No.
Oh.
Which is really nice to see that they got over from America, and that's really cool.
Yeah,
and their stand was really busy.
Quite a few American companies were over. It's becoming more of a thing. They're more like...
Yeah. I think it felt bigger than last year.
But it felt bigger because there were lots of like people coming over from like... So with Danny Sandring and Stella from Meeple University were wandering the halls and stuff.
I played a game of... distilled cocktails with Stella from Meeple University.
So that was all nice. It was really nice to see all these people and it felt like, they're coming to the UK, so UKGE must be big, and it is big.
It's more international, I would say.
Yeah.
So coming soon will be a review of Fractured Sky. I'm very excited. This is long awaited. Since I saw someone else playing it on YouTube and I thought I must have this game. It's miniatures, but they've got magnets on. It's like, I think it's fighting. I don't know. Anyway, so we will be reviewing that soon, but that's very exciting. I'm very excited. Yeah. And I love IB Studios. Their games are like amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. They're some of the best production games as we've had Austin on before on the podcast.
So go back and listen to that episode. If I was as good as PJ, then I would know which episode that was. But I don't.
Yes. Board and Dice were there as always in their little bay next to Dobble for some reason.
Yes.
Or another.
They have a new exciting announcements soon, so
yes,
we can't say anything about it.
The new game, their new tea game, looks amazing. I was like, yeah, I'm sold on it. Yeah. I'm going to Essen.
Don't say any more.
I'm not. I don't know if I am.
Into trouble.
I won't say anything. I'll wait until she does.
Yes, which will be in the next couple of days.
Couple of days.
But it
does begin with a T.
Yeah, it does begin with a T.
Yeah, funny that.
And a segue into what begins with a T is we went and saw Trying Games, who had his stand, and that's not that. Well, I mean, it is notable, but the most amazing thing is that he now has a game to sell. So when we've been before, it's been he's about to launch his Kickstarter or whatever, and this time he has actual games to sell. Yeah, which was really cool. Super proud of him, and it's really cool to see one of your friends selling their game at the Expo. Yeah, and
it'll have it has a website, so you can go onto his website and buy the game now.
Yeah,
which is nice.
And our version has shiny loo paper in it.
Yeah, it does
on the cards, and we have our names in the booklet, which is really cool. Yeah. But it feels really special to see a game go from kind of just an idea in his head to a real thing. Yeah. And so it's exciting to see where he goes next. Yeah. So yeah, that was cool.
As you just mentioned, you played Paverson. You said you went to Paverson and played distilled cocktails, which was really nice. It was on Saturday.
Yeah, Saturday. We went to Wise Wizards Games. Mm-hmm. Check out their games. They had a game called Push Push Penguin, which was very popular.
They're pushing their Wacky Wizards section a lot more, aren't they?
Which is like the kids.
Yeah. Kids and family, yeah.
They have some new kind of small box games coming out.
Small box deck builders.
So there's one called Elemistic.
Yep.
And one called Seeker Chronicles, and they're kind of like little.
They seem quite interesting, yeah.
Yeah, little card games that you can play. But Push Push Penguins was very, very busy the whole time.
It was, yeah. It was it's a push your luck. Like little plastic cups. I don't know what
Everyone
game
really liked it.
The game seems fun, and there was like a hidden thing, but I don't know.
You don't know. We went and saw our friend Shirts and Merch,
which ironically is a sponsor of this podcast. This podcast is of course sponsored by Shirts and Merch. Shirts and Merch are a wonderful clothing merch brand that do incredibly comfortable t-shirts. Long-lasting and eco-friendly, so definitely worthwhile checking them out. Heading to their Etsy store and searching for shirts and merch, which is always very nice.
And then you went to the Bring and Buy.
I went to the Bring and Buy, and I brought and I bought.
Which we don't usually go to, but we had cash, so we were able to go to the Bring and Buy.
And we bought some things. I bought a game that I've been looking for in forever, which is a game called Dive, which is basically these clear Perspex-y kind of sheets. They're like bluish anyway, so they're not. And then I don't know exactly how to play it, but you essentially are having to look down and see how deep and how many layers down you think the certain sea life is, and kind of saying 3 or 4 or whatever, that kind of thing. Which was, I was excited about that, and I got a copy of Dead of Winter because I've always wanted to play it.
Which always plays Blue Brian is going to teach us.
Yeah.
Which was really cool. The only annoying thing about the Bring and Buy is when you send the boys into the Bring and Buy, and then you hear the tannoy announcements. In 15 minutes, all the halls are going to close. Okay? So I think, well, they must be coming out soon. In 10 minutes, all the halls are going to close. In 5 minutes, all the halls are going to close. Oh, all the halls are closed. Please make your way to the entrance. They're still in the Bring and Buy.
Exactly.
And so because I can't just stand there while somebody's ushering me out, go out to the out of the hall and into the foyer area and just wait. Yeah. For you to finish.
That's all right then.
In the Bring and Buy.
Yeah. Good.
Because you did not leave on time.
But it was fun to not leave on time, right?
Yeah. And then what we thought was a really good idea was after we left the Bring and Buy, and then travelled home and then eaten.
Yeah.
That what we really needed after a very long day and quite a late night the night before was a massive game of Nemesis.
A 5-hour game of Nemesis, yeah.
So we set up Nemesis at about
10.
9:30.
Yeah.
And then by the time it was set up and our friends Neurodicey had come over and Nerdy Nemesis had taught them how to play it, it was 10:30.
Yeah.
It's not a great idea to start a game of Nemesis at 10:30 because it doesn't finish until 2:00 in the morning. And it hadn't even actually finished, but we got to a point where we were like, we will accept that you have won because we need to get up in the morning.
Exactly.
So we all got about 3 hours sleep, but it was very good fun and it was a bit of a laugh. And then you were working.
I was working
on
Saturday.
So I was going alone with, I was doing a bit of walking around with Nerdy Nemesis James and the rest of the time going solo.
Yeah.
I think I did quite well.
Yeah. You went around, you did interviews, you had chats.
I did.
Yeah.
I think it was important because we obviously get press passes. Not obviously, but we get press passes. So I felt it was important to do
press things.
And, hopefully I can do a little bit to kind of raise the profile of independence and other people and just get, the word out there about these games. So I felt like that was a good thing for me to do. And I actually really enjoyed it. What did I do by myself? Yeah, I went to have play a game of distilled cocktails with board gamer James.
Yep.
Meeple University Stella and Fun with Boxes.
Yeah.
So that was really fun. We got mocktails.
Mm-hmm.
And Dave Beck and I've forgotten the other guy's name. Richard taught us the game. We kind of played a couple of rounds, but from like the third round on, so we already had some like engine going. And I really think that the Cocktails expansion is a really good expansion for Distilled. So when you have made your alcoholic drink, then you can use it in a cocktail. And it feels like that's a really valid thing that you would do. And it doesn't feel like they just whacked on an expansion and went, we'll just make more money. It feels like it's purposeful and there's like a bit of an area control map where you're putting out your presence of your, spreading the word about your drink across the world. You add
a bit like
mixers to your drink.
Viticulture's stars. Yeah. Look good.
But it was really enjoyable, and I think that if you had that expansion, you would play with that expansion all the time. It just feels like a natural fit to and Dave Beck is just absolutely hilarious and down to earth and really cool guy.
You failed Time Troopers.
Oh my gosh! So Board Game Jimmy and I at Aircon played Time Troopers, which I absolutely love. I'm probably completely wasting their time because I've played it so many times now. They don't seem to mind, or they're just being polite because I think I may have demoed it more than anybody else. I don't know. I've demoed it a lot. So Board Game Jimmy and I played a level and we failed it because Jimmy rolled the wrong dice and then we killed off all our players. So we decided to have a redo of the same mission and we failed it again. But it wasn't anything to do with the dice this time because we had another guy rolling the dice. So
you blame the other one?
No, I blame Lee.
Oh.
Because halfway through the game, he said, I think you've got some time missing because the first few rounds, no time came up.
Right.
And he'd gotten time out of the deck to show somebody at the stall and not put it back. So I blame Lee.
Fair enough. The only option can only be that.
But having said that, it is the kind of game that if you lose, it doesn't matter because it makes you want to go back to it.
Yeah.
And I still love it. And I have definitely decided that solo deck building is definitely my thing, I think.
Yeah.
Which is not why we've gone down the final girl route, but I think like maybe we're in the solo game era. But solo game, loosely solo game, because I would always play the solo game cooperatively and make those decisions together. But that kind of
fun thing.
Sit back, make choices about what happens in the game, do it.
Yeah.
So that was really enjoyable. So Saturday was just me walking around a lot, saying hi to people and bits and pieces,
meetings and chit chats. That's when we also had the Asmodee.
Yeah.
Sit down in the secret air conditioned room at the back. It was very hot on Saturday as well. The weather was very warm, wasn't it?
Yeah. And then on Sunday
was just a chilled day. Yeah, took the kids.
Still got there about 9:00.
Yeah.
Went and did all the kids' bits like Double and Imagination Gaming, saw Mashy Meatballs, who was running that Imagination. Well, not running it, but volunteering.
Yeah.
On the stall, had a game of Deep Sea Adventure with Jake, GI14.
Yeah.
What else did we do? Played all the big games. Like the kids loved the Singer Games Water. Like they'd set up a big farm and they had to go collect carrots and it was really lovely. And just had a bit of a mooch around. The kids didn't buy dice this year.
No, they bought dragons.
So dragons is the thing.
Yeah.
I think those 3D printed dragons are really popular, right?
Yeah.
But then, we bought our youngest the 3D printed dragon, purple one she wanted. Then we had to buy something for it to live in.
Yes.
So we start searching the whole of the expo for something to live in. I finally find an egg that it can live in. And when she opens it up, there's another dragon in it. So now she's got 2 dragons.
Yeah, and 1 egg. 2 dragons and 1 egg. I've seen a film like that before.
We picked up Finn's Farm.
Yep.
Right at the end of the expo.
Right at the death, yeah.
It was quite cheap, actually, on Travelling Man. And I wanted it because I wanted to complete the collection.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to trying that out. I think it'll be different. I've heard it's like simpler, but I don't think that matters.
Yeah, I think you went rogue and you made a decision.
We did.
But yeah, I mean, we can talk about our haul.
Yeah.
If people really want to hear about our haul. This is
But if you didn't get a haul...
It doesn't matter.
What could you do instead?
If you didn't have a haul, well, you'd probably just come in your front door and you'd be in your living room.
No, what... If you didn't get a haul from UKGE...
If you didn't buy loads of games, the best thing you can always do is you could try the games before you buy the games, because that would be good. And you can do that by renting games through Rent, Shuffle and Roll. Rent, Shuffle and Roll are a sponsor of this podcast. If you head to www.rentshuffleandroll.co.uk and use code GITG50, you'll get 50% off your first month's rental with Rent, Shuffle and Roll. So go ahead, check them out today and rent some board game fun times. Was that good?
Yeah. So what did we get in the haul?
Okay, well, we got Fractured Sky. Thank you very much to Ivy Studios for that. Dead of Winter, Pergola. We got a copy of Septima and the expansion.
Yeah.
We got Tekehenu, Obelisk of the Sun from Board and Dice, because they were selling all the things all the cheap.
Yeah, it was cheap. And Ola said that it was a good one, so we
believed her. Yeah. Pack the Essential from Wacky Wizards games about packing cats into suitcases.
Yep.
Dive, as mentioned. Deep Regrets from Tetix Games. Can't Go. Tiny Epic Vikings somehow appeared. Rainbow, Epic Jewels, Lambarda, Flippers. We got Feathers Something.
Yes.
We did manage to get a copy of Feathers Something. Flower Cards from that man.
Half No More.
That's the one. Half No More. I know these people's names. We got a copy of Bitter Rivals, Aethermon, which is a Pokemon thing that's not Pokemon, legally distinct. We got a cool game from Chip Theory Games called Neon Rain, which looks really cool. It's like basically it's a PvP like battler where you're playing like a video game, and like the moves are specific cards that you play down are like the combos that you would press when you're playing Street Fighters. So you're like playing like a red button, a green button, and an up, down, left arrow kind of thing, and a joystick and that sort of stuff. It looked really cool. Sounded really fun. We did indeed start the Final Girl. We got the Final Girl core set and Hans the Pigman.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it, really.
We got lots of card games.
Lots of card games. Hanging Gardens.
Bitter Rivals.
Yeah.
That
was it. I went through them all.
Oh.
Pretty much. That was pretty much it. I've probably missed something, but yeah, it was good. We got quite a lot of games, and thank you very much to the publishers and distributors that were kind enough to give us review copies of some of those games as well. Which we are always eternally grateful for. And now we've got
loads of work to do.
Now we've got loads of work to do. This is where the fun begins, as Anakin Skywalker would say.
Yeah. So it'll be exciting in the coming weeks to try all those games out.
Yeah.
And then get some content out for you lovely people, so you can see what it's like.
And then there's all the hype coming. So yeah, it's good. It's a lot of hype, and there's a lot of exciting things coming in the future, and especially with Gen Con and Essen around the corner, I'm sure there's going to be more highlights and board games announced very soon.
And I think a lot of companies, because of the tariff situation, are shipping more of their games to Europe. So it might be that we get some of those releases before America get them, which is good for us, not good for America. And but these companies need to make their money, and it would be a shame to see any of them kind of disappear because of
it's always good to support them. But yeah, it's been UKGE overall, I think it was a really good one. I really enjoyed it. I think it was different. I don't think I barely went to the open gaming section.
We didn't play many games.
No, I'd say we didn't. We demoed a few. I don't think we sat down and actually played so many games together.
I did play another demo of Restless Spirits.
Yeah.
Which I forgot to mention with Nerdy Nemesis.
Yeah.
That was good. He beat me. I really want to play a longer game of that.
Yeah.
Because I feel that I'm losing because in the demos you only play to 2 rounds.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe in the long game I might do better.
Yeah.
So I'm keen to
try it out again.
Yeah,
and it's a great game. Like, I mean, the artwork is stunning. Like, there's so many cool.
But the guys, not guy and girl, who run it are like
they're really nice.
The sweetest.
They're
people.
Really cool. Yeah.
And he has created some like this book that's going to be for their Kickstarter backers. They're only going to make 10 of them because he's hand making them.
Oh wow.
To do with the world that the Restless Spirits is set in, and it's going to have flaps and like lift up bits, and it's like an oldie worldy book, leather bound. It looks amazing, but he's made up his own language that these spirits would talking. It is like wow.
Yeah.
But yes, very very cool. I think Nerdy Nemesis James bought some of their artwork because they were selling that, so that was really cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I bought a piece of art, didn't I? Of a dragon.
Looks like a crocobog.
I shall have to put a picture of it up on socials. But yeah, overall, I was really hyped for it, and sometimes when you get really excited about something, it's a bit disappointing.
Yeah.
But this one I think is the one that I've enjoyed the most so far.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm more legitimately able to be there in that space, and I know a bit more about what's going on.
Yeah, I feel like
I have before.
It's interesting. I find it interesting now that I just know the people there. I go to stands now and I know people, and I just say
they know
hello.
you.
Yeah, and
you don't have to do that. I'm getting the game.
Yeah, like, have we met? It's quite nice, that kind of thing. It's just like going back and be like, oh, friends, you've come here again. Yeah. Like,
it does feel like that. It feels like a community where everybody meets up and wants to say hi.
Yeah.
And, is really happy to see each other. And,
yeah.
Maybe it's difficult because we leave the kids behind. Maybe if we felt like we could, maybe next year we'd do a bit more open gaming and be a bit more sociable in the evenings. Maybe that's the kind of payoff for working during the days. But
I think that's the thing. Yeah, I think because we do generally tend to go and then just go home because we're not that far away.
So well, I feel bad. I feel like we shouldn't just leave the kids with somebody else all evening. Anyway.
We're not just leaving them with anyone. They're left with a relative.
I know, but you don't want to, I think we're oversharing now, but you don't want to, leave the kids for too long and it be an imposition.
Yeah, you can't leave the trough out, can you, that they're eating out of, because sometimes the cat'll get in there.
We did play a 4-player game.
The relative is the cat.
Vendetta.
Yeah, that was fun. Dirt Road. That was good.
I actually enjoyed coming back and playing a game because it was just a bit more chill. You could calm down.
It was quieter.
Sort yourself out and then be ready to go for the next day.
Yeah, exactly that.
That was good.
But yeah, we would love to hear your highlights. If you had visited the UKGE, let us know what your highlights were, what your favourite games were, what you enjoyed seeing. Let us know in the comments on this lovely podcast or even on our social medias.
And we are now going to bed.
We're going to go to bed.
That's
oversharing too. But yeah, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the podcast. I'm sure we will talk more about UKGE when we remember more things, because we always do that thing where you go to UKGE and then you forget everything.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for listening to the podcast. We hope you enjoyed. Please remember to give us a 5-star review, share this podcast with friends, help us grow, help us make this podcast something. Hopefully soon we'll have some really exciting guests as well lined up. So yeah, it's going to be cool. We've got lots of cool things coming up in the pipeline, and hopefully some other news about some other bits and bobs that I will keep mum on now.
Yay!
Yes. But yeah, cool. Thanks for listening, and remember to
go to UKGE
next
year.
Get
your tickets. Book your hotels now.
Get into bed.
Oh yeah, remember to get into bed.
Oh, we could book a hotel.
I'm going to get into bed.
We could book a hotel.
We could, but I really want to go to bed now.
What? In a Premier Inn in Birmingham?
No, my bed right now. But...
Oh, it's not like a Premier Inn bed though, is it?
No. Do you think we could get away with staying in a Premier Inn?
What, for UKGE?
Yeah. This isn't a conversation we should be having.
Let us know in the comments. I'm actually, you know what? On the thing, you can tell us whether you think we can get away with getting a Premier Inn or not. Please leave a hashtag. It's not even a Premier Inn; it's a Hilton, isn't it? But
I don't think we can stay in the Hilton.
No,
we'd have to stay in the Arden.
We'll have to still somewhere. If we're going to stay in a hotel,
it's pointless. We live 40 minutes away.
Say hashtag yes hotel baby, or hashtag no hotel baby on the post that this podcast is on Instagram. That would be fantastic. And then hopefully we can dance.
Right. Remember
the 5th of November.
Not play Nemesis
at 2 o'clock in the morning. Should I set it up now? I could set up lockdown. No. All right. It's 11 o'clock, by the way. Just if you need to know what time it is this evening. I fed the cat. That's why he's over there.
Remember to
get into your pajamas before going to bed. Oh, are we? Oh, I better log off then. Normally it's too late. I must have had my Horlicks. Remember to get into games. What up?